Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff over here.
Is it looking bad or is that okay?
You've got like a paper, a computer.
That's okay. I want to bring this up, so it's okay.
A phone.
Computer, yeah, that's okay.
He's serious here.
Well, wait. Are we starting?
Yeah, I mean, I just have a cup of tea because I'm not going to spill it, even though we are spilling the tea.
Do you know, the really annoying thing sometimes is that I don't know when the record button has been pressed. And so I assume that we're just having a casual chat, and actually the whole thing has been recorded. Thanks, Chris.
Because we don't edit this. This is basically...
This is raw, uncut, unfiltered, us as unencumbered as we get.
Yeah, but Chris is over there vision mixing, so it's not just boring.
How are you doing today, Chris?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you.
Yeah. By the way, people loved your video.
Should I do more?
It was for patrons only, but
they loved your video.
It went down
You
really
got
well.
more likes and comments than like any of my videos on Patreon.
Chris is the new face of Mapperton Live. I think we've got to accept it. For patrons.
You too, for patrons.
Anyway, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so we love doing these twice a month when we can. So far, I think we're doing a great job. We're getting twice a month spilling the tea in at the Manor.
What I don't understand is the name keeps changing. First of all, it was Tea Time at the Manor.
No, it was Fireside Chat.
Then it was Fireside Chats. No. And now it's called Spilling the Tea.
Yeah, I really like Spilling the Tea. We're going to stick with Spilling the Tea, everybody.
Is that the same as spilling the beans? Tea and beans? In other words, you're revealing more than
I've never heard of spilling the beans before.
You've never heard of spilling the beans?
No.
That is just... Chris,
back
me up here.
Yeah.
It must be a British thing. Comment down below. Have you heard of spilling the beans?
Spill the beans. Yeah, but spilling the beans is an expression. And
maybe I have. Wait. Okay. I've heard let's spill the... I'm getting confused now between if I've heard it before. I must have. Spill the beans.
Anyway,
I have.
Anyway.
Spill the beans.
Whatever we're
doing,
we're pulling back the curtain. We're having just a casual chat about all things Mapperton. And I think, Julie... you were going to kick off today with a Royal School of Needlework update. Is that right?
Yes. So earlier this year, I was able to take the Earl of Sandwich coronation robes to Hampton Court Palace, which was very, very exciting. And that is where the Royal School of Needlework is based. They are outstanding. They worked, of course, on the embroidery of Catherine, the Princess of Wales's wedding dress. They worked on the embroidery for both King Charles and Queen Camilla for their coronation robes. Incredible. They've done in the past other sort of embroidery for the monarchs around the coronations in particular, and our coronation robes were in much need of mostly stabilization. And that is actually quite a process. You look at where the damage is done and you're not necessarily repairing it, but you might be able to put like a piece of netting around it. You can do, and also stabilization, but also repair absolutely. And so I was able to watch the process, and hopefully you saw that video. If not, look back at some of our past videos, because I went there to look at the work they were doing. And what's very exciting is that they are now coming here to Mapperton on Friday, the 20th of September. I'll film as much of it as I possibly can. And they are doing a course here, 12 people. And I know a couple of you are actually flying in from America doing this course. Isn't that amazing? Doing this course. They told me at the RSN that there was a really big waiting list for this one. We've taken a motif, or they have taken a motif from the Jacobean apron, which I have also showcased in a video, a past video, when I boxed it up properly in acid-free paper and archive box. And they've taken a motif from that and created an embroidery kit, if you like. And the 12 people will be creating that with their leader from the course tutor from the RSN. And it's all happening here from 10 to 4 on Friday, the 20th of September. I'll also be giving the 12 attendees a tour of the house, plus showing them the Jacobean apron, so they can actually see the motif that theirs was. Are
you going to be learning as well? Are you going to be doing some embroidery?
Well, I haven't asked if I could, So I'm fingers crossed.
I think people want to see you with a needle.
Yeah, so that's
trying to create one of these motifs.
Yeah, well, I would like to. So fingers crossed, I can do that. And but that's, you guys, this is...
Are you going to film it?
Yeah, I'm going to film it.
So there's going to be an episode.
Yeah, there's going to be an episode. It's so
Great.
exciting. And they just emailed me just to fine tune the details to the RS Ended to ask if we would be interested in doing another one next year. Same thing on the Jacobean motif, because they have never had such a big wait list for this.
For people to come to Mapperton.
Yeah.
We can't get people to come to Mapperton to see the gardens, but at the moment it's needlework.
I know.
It seems
That's why I think we should look at doing more
Yeah.
of these type of workshops. It's pretty impressive. And what we decided to do, because of the cost of, and I just want to...
do we make any money?
No, and let me explain why. Because of the cost
We don't make any money.
But that's okay.
Okay.
Please let me explain, because it's really important that even though Mapperton's not making any money on it, we are in one sense, that the coronation robes were in such bad condition that I had raised through Buy Me a Coffee a certain amount. So thank you to all of you who bought that coffee. But that amount alone didn't pay for what was needed for the robe, the waistcoat, and the 2 coronets. And so we negotiated a deal that they would get the venue space down here in return for finishing the works on the coronation robes.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So we've been paid in kind by the works on the robes.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
So that's brilliant, isn't it? Well, whilst Julie is dealing with the restoration of fabrics and needlework, I have been trying to cope with the restoration of something much more mundane, which is our road infrastructure. And I don't know, one of the great, I mean, this is a spill the beans, spill the tea episode. One of the things that makes me groan when I wake up in the morning is the thought of having to confront one of the many problems that we have here at Mapperton with what you might call infrastructure. You know about all the water problems that we're having. We just, endless bits of pipework keep breaking and leaking. We've got another couple this week. But the cherry on the top this year has been the loss of one of the main roads that goes through the estate. You've seen that in previous videos. And now, this storm happened last December. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The road collapsed January, and it was closed, it collapsed between December and January, and it was closed from about January onwards, and we're now in August, and we still don't have a timetable for repairing the road.
Unbelievable.
It absolutely beggars belief. Now,
remind people that this road leads to...
Yeah. The road has houses, so we've got tenants who can't get to their houses. We've got farming that we can't do. We've got rewilding operations. Yeah. It's a critical road. But then, just to sort of top it all off, we get this in the post. Now, this arrived just a few days ago, and they're going to close the whole of the main road that leads to Mapperton for 3 days in September, and they've given us about 2 weeks' notice. Nobody's going to be able to get here.
No, I know.
Staff won't be able to get here. Visitors won't be able to get here. There'll be no compensation. The road is being closed, and it again.
So what are you going to do about that?
Well, I've just rung them up, and I've been really grumpy, and I'm trying to speak to somebody senior, but at the end of the day...
That's 3 days, because it's a Monday to a Wednesday.
Monday to a Wednesday.
And in fact, I know that one of my transcribers for the Alberta Research Project is coming on the Wednesday.
I mean, we're going to be stuck here. We're going to be marooned at Mapperton. It'll be like lockdown again. So at least it will be peaceful, I suppose.
Well, no. I've got a volunteer coming.
Julie's getting quite nervous.
Yeah, so I've got to get her here.
I've got to get her. Maybe we can fly them in? Or
there's got to be one way to get it here.
They can walk through the fields. Chris, you can like get the mule out with Ben and do a taxi service through the fields.
One of those really big drones, and we can carry them over.
They could just hang from the drone, couldn't they? And drop.
Land them in the profile.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's fine, isn't it? We've solved it, so it's not a problem anymore. Anyway, that is now. My father once wrote a book which was his memoir of his time at Mapperton when he took over from his father. And the book was originally called Mapperton Moans, and it listed on a daily basis all the things that were...
I didn't know it was originally called that. It's now
he
called
changed
Mapperton
it.
Moments.
He's published it, and it's now called Mapperton Moments.
You can get it online.
Can you still get it
Yeah,
online?
you can get it on Mapperton.com.
Is it? Okay. And anyway, it's sometimes therapeutic for me to read that because some of the things he coped with were worse than that. For example, the time that it froze and the pipes burst at the top of the house and the ceiling in the staircase hall came down. We haven't had that, have we?
No. We haven't. Luckily.
Yeah. Anyway, on to brighter things. Julie's doing all these colourful things, whilst I'm dealing with the grey and sombre infrastructure.
Yes. So I've just mentioned the coronation robes, and then I'm sure, maybe not, but perhaps you're commenting right now saying, what's the update on the coronation robes? Well, I also just received an email last week. They're finished. They're ready to come back to Mapperton. So we will be filming this. I head there on the 1st of October.
Right.
So a month's time, 1st of October. That was the best day we could get for sort of everybody within the RSN that we wanted to film with, and also myself and Victoria, because we're filming a big special on our sister channel, American Viscountess, sort of a highly produced episode about a little bit more in depth about the RSN itself and the restoration of these robes. But of course, I'll be filming it like I did the last time for Mapperton Live when I pick them up. So that will be a scene. So that's being done October 1st. And we are not putting them out on display. When you put, these type of textiles out on display, it causes yet another layer of wear and tear. And I think for now, my thinking is I just had them stabilized and had bits of repair. So when I collect them, they will be in archive boxes. That's what I asked them to do. You have two ways of collecting. Collecting it is, are you going to put them on display? You would then bring them back in a different way. I want them in the archive boxes and then stored away here. But of course, I'll be able to open up the archive boxes, not take them out, but show you in them, just to keep them safe and sound. And I think probably the next time I put them on display will be for the next coronation, because we know they won't ever be worn again. But it's nice.
Hang on a second.
What, you think William's going to change it?
No. These coronation robes are old friends of mine. Because when I was a little boy coming to Mapperton, there was nothing more fun than rummaging in the chest and discovering these robes that to me looked like the things that kings and queens were wearing. And so, of course, I would sort of throw them on and prance around the house with my brother and sister. And now that you've had them restored, I'm going to invite my brother and sister back, and we are going to do it all over again.
Okay.
And we might have a very smart tea party in here, all of us dressed out in our regalia, and I will try not to spill the tea on the roads.
I don't think he's trying to ruffle my feathers.
Yeah,
there you go. Do you know that saying? Ruffle my feathers.
Ruffle my feathers.
By the way, everybody, it was what caught me up was spilling the beans, because I would always say spill the beans. So I do know what spill the beans means. Okay. I don't know, for some reason it was sort of like that moment.
That's okay. You don't need to explain yourself. These are friends.
So anyway, that's coronation robes coming soon, and I can't wait to bring them back home. So thank you to all of you who donated through Buy Me a Coffee.
So Julie's got all the fun stuff, and meanwhile, I'm dealing with some really difficult things at the moment. And sometimes I get up and I spend the day, and I just think, in what way did today lead to the improvement of Mapperton versus the defence of Mapperton? The roads feels like a bit of a defence thing, just trying to keep things back as they were. But we've got a whole other issue at the moment that is taking up a lot of my time, which is that we here at Mapperton have weddings. We have about 15 weddings a year.
We have an amazing weddings manager.
We do, the wonderful Holly.
Yep.
And about 2 years ago, we received a phone call from an unscrupulous company, a weddings listings company. This is the sort of company that brides... No, it doesn't matter. I can keep looking at that one. Right. You've got a different technique here. I think it's better we keep looking at that camera, even when that one goes red.
Okay,
do you see?
okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Sorry for breaking the fourth wall, but that's what we have to do. Anyway, so this company has a website and it lists services for brides. Brides and couples sign up, and in theory, so we're told. And anyway, they rang up and they said to the person who was looking after weddings at the time, they said, would you like 3 months free advertising on our site? And of course, anyone would say, yes. Absolutely, that's what I'd like. Little did the person know that there was some small print buried at the bottom that if you don't cancel by a certain date, then you get sucked into a full year's subscription for thousands of pounds. And the person who called up did not mention any of that at all, did not make any of those terms and conditions clear, and also said that they were going to call back, check in, see how the free advertising was going, and talk to us about whether we would like to extend it into a long-term subscription. So unwittingly, this poor person signed this document, not knowing what they were entering into, and then lo and behold, we get an invoice for thousands of pounds. And we'd actually had no leads at all from the weddings. No couples had called us up, nothing at all. And so I've said, that is wrong, and we shouldn't be missold to in that way. And I went online and I discovered thousands of other people, small businesses, that have been taken advantage of in exactly the same way. And so this is a company that makes a business out of trying to rip off
scam people.
Small companies in the weddings area. So we're now going to court. I've been having to write witness statements, so we've got to go to court in Lincoln.
And in Lincoln? That's miles away.
In November, but that's... So anyway, this is, again, another really boring drain on my time. And and then in addition to that, we've got meetings coming up with some neighbours who are very concerned about the ragwork that we have at Mapperton. Now, this is also something that I find quite troubling, because all across the UK, ragwort is blossoming this year. It's been a year where we've seen ragwort in all sorts of places. And that is because in the seed bank under all of these fields, there are ragwort seeds. And it just takes the right conditions for them to come up. And at Mapperton, because of the rewilding project, we have what are called fallow fields that aren't being ploughed or farmed, and so it is easier for the ragwort to come up. And people get very nervous about ragwort because it can be poisonous to animals, so that's very understandable. But what's often forgotten is that ragwort seeds don't disperse more than about 16 metres from the plant. And so we've created about a 70-metre buffer between the plants and our boundary.
Yes.
And the seeds won't get that far.
Yes.
But nevertheless, it's of concern to people. So this is also something that we're having to manage with. And it's quite typical on rewilding projects. We always need to have good neighbourly relations, and we need to explain the science, explain what we're doing. And that is something that I shall be doing next week.
Should I move on to happier times?
I mean, that one's not unhappy, but it's just, it's part of what we've got to do. Yeah, what have you got that's sort of joyful?
Okay, well, I think what's quite exciting is we've got a TV crew from Germany.
ZDF, it's the German BBC.
It is the German BBC, coming on Friday. Because as many of you know who've watched our channel from the very beginning, our 18th century pool has gone viral several times, and not only on YouTube, but on TikTok, on Instagram. And we've got a German production company coming on Friday to film the pool, to use some of our archive footage of past Mapperton Live pool episodes, and to film me in the pool itself. So that's exciting, I think. Yeah? I get to go for a nice swim.
You do get to go for a nice swim, and the weather on Friday is looking okay. It's miserable, it's raining, it's cold today, but Friday the sun comes out. But Julie, have you seen the state of the pool?
Well, I was in the pool trying to get some of the blanket weed out, and I was untethering untethering the floating plant islands. It's like a tongue twister. But I'm going to retether them today.
Are you going to get in the pool again today?
Yeah, I'm going to get in the pool today and retether them.
And there's quite a lot of algae there. Are you going to take a net and sort of scoop out some
Sometimes it's easier. It gets so heavy with that net. It's easier while you're in the pool just to take your hands and throw it out.
That is going to be good television. So,
well, I've already done it once.
Alas, can't join you for that.
Yeah.
But I'm really sorry. I got other things this afternoon.
That's okay.
But I'm very grateful for your algae clearing.
Yes.
We had another extraordinary event this week. Did you know that Percy almost escaped? Percy the giant tortoise. Now, this guy can run. People think of tortoises as being rather sort of slow and lumbering, but when they want to go, they just zip across.
Was that what
enclosure.
He did?
Well, he discovered a weakness in the fence.
Right.
And he started kind of barging into it. And I got a frantic call from Lucy, who runs the cafe, saying, Percy is nearly out and we won't be able to get him back in. And so I was about to run up there when she rang me back and said that luckily Lander had got there in time with a plank and some hammer and nails.
One of our gardeners, yeah.
And so Percy has been kept in. But I think we're going to have to redo that whole fence.
He has, by the way, he has a really nice big enclosure. He has his own house. It's heated. He has his own pool.
Yeah, Percy has the best life.
He has literally.
He does have the best life.
It's a pretty great life.
Yeah.
So the other thing I do want to mention, because I mentioned this at most spilling the tea sessions, it's my dissertation. I know I keep mentioning that, everybody. You're going to hear about it for next month, but it's getting there.
It's nearly there, isn't it?
It's nearly there. I'm at 18,000 words, about halfway through the final chapter. So I suspect when I get through the final chapter, I'll be well over 20,000 words. Then I still need to write the conclusion, which I reckon will be about another 1,000 to 2,000. And then I have to write the abstract, which I'm doing at the very end, the abstract at the beginning. So I'll be close to the 25,000 words. It needs to be between 20 to 25,000 words. So
the question from my point of view is, when am I going to be allowed to read it?
Not until after I submit it.
She's saying that I can't actually read it until she submits it.
No.
Why not? I can give you some really helpful guidance on things. No? Sounds like it's a no.
No, but it's I'm really pleased so far, and I have a meeting with my course tutor tomorrow. So I'm really pleased with it so far. I have a meeting with my course tutor tomorrow to discuss it, where I'm at the moment and where I need to get to. But my hope is that by the end of this week, I will have completed the last chapter. And there's a lot of fine-tuning that needs to go along with this. But I will get that, once you finish it. I tell you what
I think would be really interesting would be to do a session where you and I talk about it. We talk about what you've uncovered. We talk about your conclusions.
Yeah,
we talk about my great-grandmother, what sort of person she was. When can we do that?
Yeah, but I guess the thing is you haven't read as much as I have, so...
No, but I want to read your dissertation, and then I want to be able to have that discussion. Look of horror just came over Julie's face.
Not happening.
It's going to happen at some point. All right, we'll move on from that.
After I submit.
Other things that are going on this week. Well, we've got quite a big decision to make this week, and it's a hard one. We're just about to start September, and what happens at the end of August is that visitor numbers just drop off because people go back to school. It's the end of the summer holidays, go back to work, and we shift from having quite a lot of families and younger visitors back to the normal people that we have coming to visit Mapperton, who tend to be a bit older, interested in the gardens and the house, and less in the kind of wider landscape and play areas and things like that. But it means numbers drop.
Yeah.
And in the past, we have been open for October, but looking back over the last couple of years, we've struggled to make a surplus in October. We just haven't had enough people come to cover the costs of staying open, because you've still got to have people on site, we've still got to have the cafe open, etc., etc. So at the moment, we're going to end at the end of September. we've been thinking about whether to open through to the end of October, but we're going to do a bit more analysis and make a decision later this week. By the way, one other positive thing is that we are now getting all of the orange, well, not quite all, but many of the orangery windows repaired. In fact, I've just had an enormous bill, which means that we've had 6 custom-built windows put in to replace the completely rotten windows that had stood there for probably 70 years.
We'll be doing an update on that, and I just want to say a huge thank you to our patrons because
they help support these sorts of projects.
This project. So thank you to our patrons because that's been a huge help, massive help, because they needed to be done, and also it's the gardens are one of the key reasons that people come, and we have weddings there as well. So we need that orangery to look and tip-top shape.
And it will, and also in time for a magnificent concert that we have this weekend. And we've got a world-famous actress, Harriet Walters, coming.
Many of you will recognize her from Killing Eve, from The Crown, from Downton Abbey.
She's in Downton Abbey, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And she's a friend of my mother's. My mother has organised this concert. It's also got renowned pianist Lucy Parham playing, and it'll be a combination of recitals and readings, and that's happening on Saturday, and it's I, Clara. So it's going to be readings from the life of Clara Schumann. And there's a lot of excitement. We sold out a couple of months ago.
Yes, 100
so
tickets.
We're going to be squeezing people into the coach house, and hopefully it will all go really well.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will.
So that, I think, is pretty much everything that's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
You got any other stuff?
No.
We're just back from holiday, by the way.
Yes.
If we're looking a little more bronze than usual.
I go into the sun, but with an umbrella over me.
We've been at Julie's little Italian house, having a wonderful time in Tuscany, and then driving back through Germany, seeing some friends, having an amazing meal.
So those of you who follow our sister channel, American Viscountess, 2 things. Number 1, the full kitchen reveal will be shown on that channel this Sunday. For various reasons, I had to push it to a Sunday. Normally, episodes on American Viscountess go out on Saturday. This week, the episode is going out on Sunday. It's going to be the full kitchen reveal. And I have a new channel, which is growing by an enormous amount. So thank you for that, called Julie in Italy. And on that channel on Saturday, normally those episodes go out on Sunday, but for various reasons, I had to switch it to a Saturday. That is going to showcase one of a brilliant, actually, brocante that I stumbled across it was quite a big one, in France, because we drove through to France first, then before we went on to Italy. And so there are spectacular finds there, and I brought a few home for us and for several of you out there. As you know, I resell these. You probably don't know that, but I do resell just a few of them.
Julie started yet another little side hustle.
It's just like takes me 2 seconds. Do you know what I mean? It's fun for everybody.
But you love it, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, if I could just be a hoarder, full-time hoarder,
at
flea market
and antiquarian salesperson, I think is your métier. Thank you all for watching. Thank you particularly to our patrons. If you're interested in becoming a patron, please go to patreon.com/Mapperton Live. Otherwise, we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and also just thank you to everybody who supports us on our YouTube channel, who watches all the ads. It costs you nothing to watch the ad, and it helps to support our channel. So we just want to say a huge thank you. We love our community, and we love spilling the tea too, don't we?
We love spilling the beans, aka tea. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.